I uploaded a video on whether Tua was being like, were they treating Tua fair? Was the criticism fair? And since then, I mean, what, two more things have happened. Let's just put it this way: quarterback one has been having a rough week in the media. Okay,
Bruh.
I don't know if he's having a rough week in real life. Who knows what he's doing? He probably is not even paying no attention. But the media is absolutely bad. Well, I won't say absolutely bashing. It sounds like he's a victim. They're like on his ass. Put it that way. All right, it's not like some bullying shit, but it's just like some, I don't know. He's been criticized heavily. Real quick shout out to people who like this video before they even heard this sentence. We're going to watch all three of the things that happened this week. It's only Thursday. And I wouldn't think this many I wouldn't think that these three videos would have came out this week considering we won and how we won. But there's three videos this week that have been getting quarterback one absolutely toasted and fried in the media. And so we're going to break down, I'm going to talk about each of them individually. Shout out to Nikki Smokes, that's whose Twitter I'm on, to watch this video. I guess he put this video together with all three of the moments. So we're going to watch these moments, and then I'm going to get into exactly what I think about each one. The first moment is Sean Payton on, I guess, ESPN or FS1. And he's talking about Teddy Bridgewater, or he's talking about teams that he thinks we'll see two quarterbacks in for this season. And one of them is Miami, and he thinks that Teddy Bridgewater is great. So let's watch this video, and then I will get into it.
I think at some point we'll see Tua in Miami. I think at some point, and they played well yesterday with Tua, but Teddy Bridgewater, I've had before, he's an outstanding player. And I think that's one of the unique things this year. I counted 8 teams where I believe we're going to see multiple quarterbacks play, not relative to injury, but just a controversy, if you will.
All right, so that was one of the videos. Now, in this situation, for this particular video, I just want to say I think he's just biased. Well, I know he's just biased. Like, he likes Teddy Bridgewater because Teddy Bridgewater played for him. And if you look at Teddy Bridgewater's personality, let me drink some water. I can't speak today. If you look at Teddy Bridgewater's personality, it's not hard to see why he's likable, right? I like Teddy Bridgewater as well. A lot of Dolphin fans not a fan of Teddy Bridgewater. Even the ones that don't like Tua, they're more like on some Skylar Thompson shit because of preseason. They're not really feeling Teddy Bridgewater. But I personally like Teddy Bridgewater. I don't really judge too much on preseason. Do I think he should start over Tua? No, for pretty obvious reasons. He has less potential, lower ceiling. Because I still believe in Tua's ceiling. I feel like a lot of people have wrote Tua off as this is how good as he could be. But I still believe that ceiling is a lot higher than what he's shown. But yeah, I think this was no other than a bias by Sean Payton, all right? But it's hard for me to really argue with Sean Payton, and I won't, because Sean Payton has a Super Bowl ring. He actually coached Drew Brees, who was one of the shorter quarterbacks to be successful in the league, who was Tua's like ceiling kind of hope to be, right? So if he says this, you gotta take it kind of serious, but or not really serious, but you gotta take it in consideration. But at the same time, you gotta understand he did coach Teddy Bridgewater, so that could definitely have something to do with why he said this. Just being a little biased, but also, I mean, I don't know. It just maybe, Tua has a little injury history. He might actually. He said no injury. He said barring no injury. So maybe he doesn't believe in Tua for whatever reason. Hey, it's one man's opinion. All right, now we get to the second video. Right, the second video is Ryan Fitzpatrick, and this was one of the most interesting ones. He was on a podcast. They asked him about Tua, and this is what he said.
The problem is sometimes you have to create, and he's not going to be able to scramble, and he'll be able to scramble, get out of trouble, and get you 5 yards, but he's not going to be able to scramble around, escape the pocket, and make the big plays down the field. So he has to take what he has that's elite is his accuracy, and hopefully as he gets better, his decision-making, and he has to be the best in the NFL at it because he's limited in some of those other ways.
I can't.
All right, so that was what Ryan Fitzpatrick said about Tua, okay? He's limited in other ways. He has to take his accuracy, and he basically has to be the best in the league at it, or else he's not going to play in the league very long, okay? Now, when I see this, I'm like, I get where Ryan Fitzpatrick is coming from, and I do agree that Tua has to be extremely accurate. And, I mean, the way Ryan Fitzpatrick explained it, it made a lot of sense because you look at Tua, he's not the fastest guy in the world, which I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was faster than what he actually is pre-injury. Like, when he was in college, I thought he looked a little faster, but I barely watch college football. But I thought he looked a little faster than what he is actually in the NFL. Also, NFL speed's way different. when you look at when you playing for Alabama, everybody looks fast. But yeah, he looks a lot like he's not as mobile as I once thought he was. But he does have he can run. Don't get it twisted. But he's just not as mobile as you thought. So when you look at a quarterback at that size, usually they're able to run. The only exception is Doug Flutie, but that was a long time ago, and I think Doug Flutie can run a little bit. Drew Brees is one of the super exceptions, and that's why I kind of was Drew Brees is one of the super exceptions where it's he couldn't run at all, right? He's way slower than Tua, but he was so accurate, and that was how Drew Brees kind of got it done by being super accurate, super duper accurate, right? And I think that's kind of what Ryan Fitzpatrick was trying to get at, is that he has to do it by being super duper accurate. Again, nobody said nothing wrong in these two videos, but especially Fitzpatrick, who the guy went to Harvard, seen a lot of football, been with a lot of quarterbacks, backed up a lot of quarterbacks, started for a lot of teams, played a lot of years. I'm not going to argue with what he said firsthand and account. Well, again, could there be some kind of, because Tua did take his job for no reason, right? So could there be a little bit of hatred there? Or not hatred, but envy? I don't know. There could be something there, because Tua did take his job at a time when Fitzpatrick thought it was his job. He said he openly came out and said he thought it was his job. So maybe there's a little bit of spite there, but I don't think it's too much. And honestly, you can't really argue with anything that Fitz just said in that video. Now let's get into the last video, the final video, the one he said yesterday or 2 days ago.
See, because I'm not the biggest guy out there. So if I can't see you, you can't see me. I can't get you the ball.
I think at some point.
All right, and in that video, Tua was basically saying that if he can't see you, well, y'all heard what he said, okay? Now a lot of people I think are twisting his words a bit, or looking at it as in he can't see see receivers. The reality of the matter is Tua has never struggled with. I don't know why we kind of treat Tua like he just struggles with turnovers. I haven't seen Tua really struggle with turnovers throughout his entire career, okay? If anything, he was always too safe, especially heading into the NFL at first. But then now as he gets a little more, ambitious with his throws, a little more, I guess, greedy, but that's not really the right word, he will make more mistakes. But, you got to, pick one kind of. Do you want him to throw slants all game long? And also, it's honestly what he said was common sense. He's not the biggest guy. He can't see. He doesn't have the quarterback vision that a Justin Herbert would have, a Joe Burrow, but that doesn't mean he's not good. He just wouldn't have the vision because, all right, if you're standing behind, if you're in a single file line and you're standing behind somebody taller than you, you're 5'6", you're not going to be able to have the vision that the other person has that's taller than you, that's 5'9". That's just common sense. You're not going to have the same vision. So what he said, I was surprised how viral it went. Well, it really wasn't, because people just been waiting for him to up, but I wasn't surprised how viral it went. These are the same things where you look at Drew Brees and the Kyler Murrays of the world. This is why Kyler Murray was, even though everybody knew he should have been the #1 draft pick, that was a debate because of his height. But Kyler Murray has that special speed, so he gonna make something happen regardless. Tua don't have that. But the thing is, this is where the debates came from though. Does height matter with quarterbacks? Now to me it doesn't really matter, because you kind of learn how to play the position at that height. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Tua was tall and then got short. He didn't shrink. He was always this height, and he just learned how to play the position from that height. Drew Brees and Kyler Murray would never say that, because Kyler Murray, that was one of his biggest criticisms. So he would never say that. And also, I think Tua's a little taller than both of them. Well, he's definitely taller than Kyler, but I don't know how much taller he is than Drew Brees. He's probably a little taller than both of them. So Tua didn't even have to deal with all the short, people weren't saying Tua was too short. They were saying he's injury prone or whatever. Nobody was saying he was too short, so he didn't have to deal with it. But the other two people, Kyler Murray and Drew Brees, they had to hear it so much to the point they would never answer a question like this. They know better than to answer a question like this. You answer a question because the only thing you're doing is unintentionally making it harder for other short prospects to make it. And it was completely unintentional. So I'm not angry at Tua for doing it, or nobody should be mad. But he made it unintentionally. If he doesn't work out, he made it unintentionally harder for shorter quarterbacks to get drafted or teams that want to take chances on them because of what he said, right? But it was common sense though what he said. He didn't say nothing that was nobody knew. It's just no other short quarterback would ever say it, because it would make him look like Tua looks, right? If they asked Kyler Murray that question, he would they didn't even ask him the question. He went on and said it himself, but. If somebody says, Tua said that being shorter, he can't, Kyler Murray would probably say next question, because they know that there's already a stigma there and they don't need to make it any worse. But anyways, listen. All three of these comments were made this week about quarterback one, y'all. I don't know what's going on. This man and all this is after a win too. I could have imagined if we have lost. Okay. All I can say is Tua, keep focusing on yourself, keep winning, and winning is the only thing that's really going to solve everything. Okay. Get in the comments what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, roll to 11K on your